So we were talking about the differences of how it is now and how it used to be under Proposition 215, where we had community, and how it is a little bit stricter actually now that it's legal under Prop 64.
Yeah, I just kept asking myself, did anybody read that, and did they want to reconsider their choice? Because I didn't know where all our medical rights went all of a sudden to grow our own and take care of our own needs, because like we didn't always know what other people did to the gardens, and maybe that was part of our medicine, was growing it. And I feel like a lot of that got lost, like grandma's plants and some other disabled people's plants that were not hurting anybody, and they were helping themselves by not only being able to grow it but medicate with it.
Yeah, I agree. Now, in the old days, patients were able to go to the dispensary, sell their excess medicine, and make back the money that they lost during the process that they grew it, so they could recuperate their funds. And people would go, and they'd go to the dispensaries, they'd check out your weed, and if they'd like it, they'd keep it, and they'd give you a consignment to where they'd pay you every few weeks. And patients got by with that little extra money. It helped.
It was.
We had a community. We could have farmers markets. We could have, we could share, we could do things. We could go to events, and the vendors at the events would all be local farmers.
Right.
Now it's just a few corporations, and the big boys who have hundreds of thousands can afford the 20 acres and the licenses that are required.
Right.
We were just talking about how now they limit us to 6 plants per house. It used to be 6 plants per patient.
Right, and it's made it unavailable to some people because other people were growing for them on their larger parcels with their more abilities, and growing for other people with altered abilities or altered circumstances. It has changed accessibility.
Absolutely.
For people.
Well, they limited the space now as well. So not only is it 6 plants per house, but it's 100 square feet. So if you have a wheelchair, you can't fit in there. And they make it so that if you want to grow outside in the sunshine, you have to buy a permit. The 64 does not allow patients to grow their plants in the sun, only indoors. So you have to buy a permit if you want to grow in the sunshine. And that permit becomes public information, which I think is illegal, because patients should not have to disclose personal information.
Well, we should never have to take more than we need, and I pray that they can change some of these rules, because like nature is the best place to grow our medicine, and we don't need electricity or to use excess or be pouring things down into the septic that do interact with the other processes of cleaning that water later.
Absolutely.
It is toxic and becomes more toxic. And the plants in the houses instead of people in the houses has bothered me for a long time.
Me too. So they started off by saying that they were going to limit the farms to a certain acreage. Then they allowed the multi-permits. You got these huge farms, and little people like us who just wanted to grow our medicine, basically were told we can't grow in the sun. If we grow more than 6 plants, we're criminals. And what it did was it created a system where patients became the new black market, and we are now criminals if we want to grow over 6 plants, which a lot of us need to make the RSO and the oils that we need to heal. I personally have had major surgeries, and I use cannabis for medicine.
It's like physical therapy. It's not something you just go and do. You take it home, you practice it, and you use it the rest of your life to stay flexible, mobile, because body motion stays in motion. And so gardening and yoga and therapy and breathing and medicating and making my moisturizers and lotions and teas and bath waters are so crucial to my moving and having the best day, because my health is my happiness.
Yes, absolutely. One thing for me was when I was sick and I had my garden, I had to get up to water my plants, and no matter how sick I felt,
that's right.
I had to
still
get up to water my plants. And I knew if I didn't water my plants, my son could have that bowl of cereal. He was 18. But if I didn't water my plants, they would die. So I would get up, not watch that TV, and go out and sit in my garden. And that contributed to my healing after being in the hospital for 3.5 weeks having major surgery.
Kept that body in motion.
I was basically bedridden, but those plants called me, and I got up to water them.
When my dad passed away, that's what kept me going, was get up to my garden.
So they're not just the plant itself, it's the act of gardening that's also healing.